Okay, everyone. I decided after doing the previous video today on applying text to a path using a circle, and if you are paying attention, you probably noticed that um, I was made reference to a non-linear, like a wave path. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to duplicate this kind of, you can't see the path, but the path is there, and it's not a straight path. So one of the things I've been playing with to do this is the node editor in Lightburn. Now, I'm not an expert in the node editor, so let's see if I can actually get this to work. So let's switch over to Lightburn, and there's my text. There's my path. It's just a straight line. And what I'm going to do is I need to go into the node editor, which is this icon here on the left. Click it. And I already have nodes on there. Okay, so I want to delete that node, and that node, and that node. I want to delete my nodes, so I just have a straight line. Let's go add my nodes. So I'm going to go there, and about there, and let's see if I can make this work here. So what I want to do is I want to move my, take my node. I do need the other node here. Need one node in the center. There we go. So here's my arrow key. I want to move this node up. I want to move this node up. I don't want to leave that node in the middle to create my funky path. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to select this is click click the smooth existing node or press the S key. So I'm going to press this, and I'm going to do that, and that. And there's a path. Now it's not a perfect path. What I can do is I don't want to make it that sharp, so I make it kind of a little less height. So you can play with that. You can also stretch it out to make it a little better. Okay. So now that I have my path, now I use the block or 0, 0 layer for this so I can work with it easier. But once I have my path, I'm going to switch it over to my template because I don't want to see it. Right? You don't want to see that. So now I can take my text, select my path, apply path to text, and there it is. Okay, so my text is kind of squished, and once again, I can select my text, just the text here. There we go. And let's just give it 15 between. Now, it doesn't matter. Right now, this is set to top, right? But you can set the text to bottom, goes up there, or by default, it's probably going to be in the middle. Look at this. There it is. So if you have your oddball shape, you can do that. Okay. So now since my text is already there, I'm going to set this back to 0. And I'm going to take my line, delete it. So there's my text. Okay, so now I want a shape. So let's go to my shapes tool and let's pick this little polygon tool here. Hold down my shift key. I get something like that. Now, remember what we had with a circle? When we went to add the text to the path, it started in a weird spot. So let's take my, didn't want that there. Go back here. Select my text and my path, and text, and oh, look at that. That's all wonky. Now, I kind of expected it not to be good, so let's play with this. So let's take my shape and let's flip it horizontally. Ooh, that's cool. Now I can take my okay. Now it's not quite the way you want it, but remember we can rotate this. So once again, we can take our path and we want to rotate it, say 90 degrees clockwise. It goes weird, right? So let's not do that. What about arranging 90 degrees counterclockwise? Well, now I had the same thing almost with the circle. I don't want that. So remember when I did my circle path, I used this rotate tool, right? So I'm going to take this, make sure this is centered, and I'm going to do 30. Well, that's not what I wanted. I go the wrong way. Okay, so let's try this and do minus 30. Here, minus 30. Okay, so once again, my text is all jumbled together. So select our text, go into our horizontal space, and 60. This go 5. I think that is okay, and probably not best here. So I want to make sure all my letters are separate and about spaced like that. Okay, and once again, preview this, and you can see it. It's not exactly what we want. Okay, so we want to get it kind of smooth. Here's something that you can do. I'm just going to hide my text for now. Now I'm going to select my shape, and it's six-sided, so I want to go corners, so that's not going to work. But down here on the lower left, there's this corner radius, and I'm going to set it to 6. Maybe a little bit more. Let's back that off, and let's set it to 12. And round this off. It's still not going to be a circle, but it's going to change the way my text works, because I got to follow that path. And we look at this in preview, and probably not the greatest. I mean, a hexagon is not a nice shape to work with, but once again, it's not about getting this to look super terrific, perfect, the way you can envision it. But now, once again, you can manipulate this path, right? You can manipulate your path. You can stretch it out. You can rotate it around. It's just a path, right? And maybe that looks a little better. Let's see that in preview. Okay, once again, it's a bit of an oddball shape, and I admit it's an oddball shape. But it wasn't about my standard way of doing path or text to path is using a circle. Now today I created a kind of a wave shape, non-linear. We added the text to that path, and then we used another shape. And if you're not happy with that shape, once again, you just delete the shape. The text is still there. Okay, so be careful when you're doing text to path or path to text. Make sure that you don't delete your template circles or template shapes. You can use whatever layer you want, but just make sure when you actually get the final if I take my shape, my path, and I put it on a black layer, when we preview it, we see the path because it's set to output, right? So if you don't want to see it, you just want to use that so you can manage it better, just turn off the, oops, not that one, turn off the black, and you get back to where you want to be. These are some little tips that you can play with. And I encourage you to experiment with different shapes, different octagon might be a better shape to use. So that's, yeah, that's an octagon. Okay, once again, I'll go set this to a template layer. And get a little bit bigger. Take my text, right click. Oops. Once again, I'm in this. I keep forgetting to do this. I'm trying to get my cursor back to where I want it. My text, my path, apply path to text. And once again, the text is backwards. So I just take my path, I'm gonna flip it horizontally, and I can rotate this to where I want it. And line up the S at the end of the T in the beginning. And it looks more like a circle, but it's not a circle. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with this. So experiment with this. By all means, if you have a suggestion, don't hesitate to drop it my way and see what we can do. If you have something specific in mind, once again, if it's not related to this, but something else that you're trying to work on in Lightburn, please drop me a note and I'll see what I can do for you. Take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.